Hello, everyone. I just got back from the old world. So, as promised, when I posted on my social media that I'll talk about my experience traveling Europe for over 2 weeks. For over 2 weeks, we went to Spain and proceeded to Italy, and it awakened a lot of insights in my head that entire trip. And so it took me a week to process. And I thought, should I write about it? Isusulat ko ba yung aking mga naisip at aking naramdaman o isushoot ko ng isang podcast? So, ang decision is to share my thoughts and actually talk about the whole experience through a video like this. So, fittingly, I invited someone with very good background and parang educational credential to be my conversation partner today. Kasi he's a communications guy, but he actually has a double major in sociology. And he's also very interesting because he grew up here in Metro Manila, but also studied in Cebu. So he's a renaissance man dun, so to speak. Kumbaga, he spans both worlds. And he's currently a professor for speech at the University of the Philippines, also a consultant and trainer here at Areté Leadership. Please welcome to the, what do you call this podcast, video, RJ Redelicia.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you, attorney, for having me. Sobrang biglaan lang, but syempre whenever you call, game na game talaga ako as long as we're free. Yeah, excited to be here. Happy to be
I
here.
thought about you kasi nga your sociology, comms, tapos I know you're also, are you Gen Z ba? Millennial? Gen Z, technically.
Barely millennial, barely Gen Z.
Oo. But you feel the kumbaga the pulse of this generation. So you're also a teacher. So yun yung gusto kong pag-usapan. So while I was in Europe 3 weeks ago, ang gulo dito, 'di ba?
Yes, ang daming nangyari. Sobrang daming nangyari. Yes.
Oo. So ano ba yon? Describe to me that entire 2 weeks na nakakagulo sa Senate. How was that like as an observer, professor, also young person?
If I think about it, well, yeah, magulo siya. And I feel like you could go two ways because you could feel extremely overwhelmed by what happened. Especially, parang every day, something new comes up. There's a new video clip being posted or a Facebook Live going up from one of the senators. So, nakaka-overwhelm siya for sure. On the other side, pwedeng maging cynical ka about it. Na lagi namang ganyan. It's not like anything's going to change. This is the regular in the Philippines already. So there's like opposite ends to it and trying to find the balance of I still care and I still feel the weight of it, but also not let it affect me so much also.
I can imagine your social media feed. Kasi you come from, pwedeng sabihin two worlds eh. You come from the UP world and you have your high school BGC world. That's technically the mix of dun sa social media friends mo. Was it difficult to understand the perspective of both? Were they fighting? Were people aligned in their disgust? Was there a lot of debate? Anong nangyayari doon sa social media feed mo during that entire 2 week span?
Well, I can only speak for my own feed, of course, but it feels like everyone knows something wrong is happening. And feel ko nagsimula na yun starting pa lang dun sa issues on flood control projects. And last year around, what month was that? Mga August, July? That's when it started coming up. I feel like no matter what side I'm seeing on social media, everyone felt like something is wrong and something needs to happen already, no matter where you're standing.
Were people taking sides or analyzing from a neutral perspective?
People took a lot of sides, for sure. I appreciate the friends that I have on social media who post their opinions that are more nuanced. So those are very helpful. Those help inform me better also. But you'll see the regular statements na binoto nyo yan, magsisi kayo, bobotante, yung mga ganun. We see those things naman. But I do appreciate the people on my feed who get to speak from a very nuanced view because I learn from them also.
I had the benefit of not being in the
Yes.
Philippines during that time. So I couldn't really say if I would have responded to that in a calm, neutral parang manner, or I would have been triggered to take a side also. Pero nasa labas nga ako. So I was
Yes.
looking at it from a vantage that you could say the vantage of maybe Rizal during his time and Juan Luna, meaning the Filipinos who were abroad, remember, during those later years of the Spanish occupation. So I was in Madrid during that stretch of 2 weeks. So habang nangyayari yun, I was tempted to join, but I was also feeling the need to detach myself. So yun yung interesting na that's why I wanted to know kung ano yung naging reaction mo. So before I share my thoughts, did it lead to people feeling more hopeful or fighting it out, or somebody's calling me? So it's okay. This is part of live recording. Alfie. Okay. So, ano yung ending nun? Did it end well? Is it still ongoing? Yung reaction ng most Filipinos who were here during that entire period. I know the issue isn't over yet.
I think things are still ongoing. I feel like there is some fatigue that has set in, of course.
Pagod na lang talaga.
Pagod na din. And I'm sure pagod din yung mga nasa Senado from what's going on. No matter which side they're on or what they're fighting for, I'm sure pagod na din lahat ng tao at this point. So there is at least I feel like there's a sense of things are slowing down, not because things are dying down, not because the issues are calming down already. The issues are still there. But I feel like it's slowing down in the sense na medyo nakakapagod na yung mga nangyayari, for sure. Yeah.
Alam mo, ito yung naisip ko eh. After the Philippines was colonized, it freed us to govern our own country by ourselves, right? So para siyang, I would liken it to Europe after the fall of the Western Roman Empire. So after the Roman Empire fell, nagkanya-kanya. Suddenly, this huge hegemonic kingdom was no longer there. So we entered the Middle Ages. That was very medieval. Nakanya-kanyang awayan yung mga kings here and there. So kanya-kanyang awayan yung mga kings. So parang, when I was there, yun yung na-feel ko. Na parang, suddenly, you don't have the Americans colonizing the Philippines. You don't have the Spanish. Suddenly, tayo lang. And if you think about it, how long has that been? Ilang taon pa lang yun. It hasn't been 100 years yet, right? Because we gained our independence sometime around what?
1986.
No, 1896. No,
1896, sorry.
but even after that,
1896.
American period, we were part of the American occupation, etc. So we were on our own siguro mga in the mid-40s and onwards. So technically, maikli pa lang yung period na yun. So during those medieval times sa Europa, awayan talaga sila ng awayan. Awayan sila ng awayan. Parang ganun din sa atin ngayon. Parang we're back in the medieval times. You have the kingdom of the Dutertes, the kingdom of the Pinks, the kingdom of the Marcoses, the kingdom of this, and the kingdom of that. So, ano yung na-feel ko when that happened? So, it led me to look at history and realize somehow something para the world takes a turn and history takes a turn, sometimes for the worse and sometimes for the better. It led into the Renaissance, it led into the Age of Enlightenment, it led into where we are now. So, ibig sabihin, posible talagang merong mangyayari dito because you somehow hit rock bottom. You think we've hit rock bottom with everything happening now?
There's a part of me that feels like baka bumaba pa, but
Hindi pa. But the generation, meron bang feeling na ito na yon? It's time for us to rebuild from this. You can't get it any worse than where we are now.
Yes.
Meron bang ganong feeling?
There are sentiments like that for sure. I'm not sure if they're in the very hopeful perspective of this is where we rebuild. But for sure, people feel like, okay, nandito na, nasa pinaka mababang level na tayo.
Oo, no? Yung na-realize ko din is, imagine when the Philippines had Magellan coming in and Legazpi coming in the 1500s. Europe was already extremely developed. You're talking about Florence and Rome. That was already built like mega cities with 1 million people in those mega cities. So comparing where they were in those years, in those decades, and versus where we were, na nakabahay kubo pa talaga tayo, and nasaan tayo ngayon, parang pwede pa talaga. Meron pa talagang chance na maging hopeful.
And attorney, I was thinking also from coming from the perspective of they had a head start, diba? Because coming from that perspective, they had a head start. They're already established a lot of influence and power, and their economy is much more established during that time. Apart from having a head start, I feel like because we were colonized for many years, they didn't just have a head start, we also had a slow start. So in terms of looking at it from the timeline of on like a global scale, it's unfair to compare us from we all started at zero.
Yeah.
They might have started at zero and then built themselves up later on, but we started as a colonized country, or not even a country yet during that time. So, iba din yung starting points ng societies natin.
Absolutely. Kasi sila, most of Europe and even Asian kingdoms, diba, started as communities, then they had their kings, and then war, the empires occupied them, empires ended, kings stayed, and then people rose to form republics. United, fought the kings, built democracies. And so there's a natural evolution from rulers and the ruled coming together and forming the states that we know of today. Napakaganda nung sinabi mo na we started broken. We started as villages brought together by a colonial power, but really hurt and pitted against each other. Pitted against each other. Pero yung the divisiveness that we see now on social media, ang hope ko is as we enter a renaissance, kumbaga as we think about the loftier things of democracy, as we think about how we want to take care of each other and how we want to govern our society, sana yung generation ninyo umangat and come together. Parang maraming divisions ngayon because of social media, but social media could also be the platform for unification. You think so?
I think it's the platform for expression, or one of the best platforms for expression. But I also feel like because the younger generations are more exposed, it's a good way to learn about issues, but I also feel like they burn out much faster also because of that.
It's just overload.
It's a lot of things to absorb for sure.
Siguro to wrap up this initial discussion, ang isang key driver nung development was really the Renaissance, when they went back to study the Greek theories, the thinkers of the past, the art of the past. Ibig sabihin, the way forward is when we decide that we want to think better, to analyze better, to organize better, to do art better, to communicate better. And as a professor at the University of the Philippines, is there a chance that maybe we can graduate from this parang yung the rule of the unthinking, the rule of the mob na biased, non-factual, just sheer emotional, to a more analytical, to nag-aral kami, nagbasa kami, mag-iisip tayo, sama-sama natin pagandahin to. You think that can happen?
I believe that will happen, but I also think that the prerequisite to analytical thinking is care. And actually, not just caring about the issue, but caring for the people involved. Whether no matter kung sinong kinakampihan mo, isang bansa lang naman tayo, isang society lang naman tayo. I think care is the prerequisite to that. And care is much harder to foster just by doom scrolling through your feed.
Can I care for someone I disagree with?
Yes, definitely. But you need to meet them. You need to shake their hand. Kailangan makilala mo siya face to face.
Pero paano yan? Social media tayo and then we're hiding behind pseudonyms.
I think that's why social media is great to absorb information, to express opinion, but it's not the best way to connect with people, especially when it comes to very tough issues with a lot of nuance involved.
Would you argue that we should stop debating online and start debating face to face?
Yes. Well, maybe not the debating right away, but just get to know someone. I wonder why they think like that. I wonder where they're coming from. And it's not even just about the big issues. We have a lot of regionalism even going on, and in even for minor, smaller issues that people find very funny or comedic. So I feel like they just need to meet someone in real life.
Is the generation craving that? You know, as trainers, we still want the workshops to be live, face to face.
Of course.
That still works better than any online program. But for example, discussion of issues or even building society or organizing, do you see a craving from this generation to let's meet, let's not do this online? Is that happening?
Yes, there's this thing I've been seeing on social media. I've seen ads for it recently. I don't know how to describe it. It's like people are coming up with creative social events that I've never seen before. Like instead of going to the club in the evening, they have like an event in the afternoon with music and drinks or coffee if you don't. Trivia nights are more more of a thing. It's a very social gathering. It's a very social event. You meet people from different backgrounds. There are a lot of workshops and classes also. And these are many different social events that people are craving. But people also are not sure what's for them or where to go also.
So that's a conversation with Professor RJ. We hope for that Philippine Renaissance, a craving for real connection, real discourse, real discussion. And we hope the spaces can be built and or events can be organized to actually make that happen.
Yeah.
Ooh, ganda nun.